Awakening. Give a few moments for people to get notified. Good morning, Grand Rising. Just waiting for the notification to go out, and I'll get started in a couple of minutes. Good morning. I'm just trying to wait a little few minutes for more folks to join. Great awakening. Okay, I'm gonna get started just because of time. Yesenia or Mary, can you let me know if you can hear me? Because there's a little bit of background noise. I'm pretty much like outside in the yard. So just let me know if you can hear me, yes or no. Okay, good. Make sure you have some tea or something. This is our morning chat for the soul. I'm Phoenix Love of the Healer's Haven. Thank you for joining. So, the topic for this morning, even before I do it, I just want to give thanks and praise to the Divine Creator for this beautiful day. And I'm hoping and praying that each of you that watch this are going to take advantage of wherever you are, however the weather, as long as it's not something hazardous, of enjoying this beautiful day. And because this is the day that the Divine Creator has made for us, and anytime you can get out and get some sun or get near some water is always a blessing, because that's part of our healing process, our healing journey, the elements. So, the message this morning is about relationships, but specifically looking at your relationships and are they making you sick? You know, I like to come right direct. These morning chats for the soul are meant to be a part of the healing process. So whatever information that is downloaded to me, Grand Awakening sisters, thank you for joining. Downloaded to me from the divine, you know, I'm going to share with you, my community here, because that means that's something that we need to hear, all of us, and I'm including myself. So I don't like to sugarcoat things. That's just really how I work with people and how even my clients, and those of you that have worked with me know that. I bring it right direct and truthful, because we're in a time, I'm not even saying I don't think, we're in a time in a dispensation where there is no time to play around and beat around the bush and be ginger with the message that God has for us, because we need to heal. We need to bring things up, and the only way you can heal things is brought up to the surface. So the message is, are your relationships making you sick? And it's an opportunity to really look at each one of your relationships. And one of the things that I do, hey, thank you for joining, my aunt-in-law. One of the things that I like to do when working with clients, depending on what they come in with and some of the areas that they are having trouble with, but most of the time it's around relationships. And I like to do something called life mapping. I don't like say, oh, this is life mapping, but it's what I do. It's part of the healing process, to really look at and evaluate every relationship that you have and sort of categorize it, okay? And the reason why that's so important is because many times, because we're in the relationship or we're just functioning on a day-to-day basis, we are not really evaluating and assessing how each relationship is making us feel, unless it's something really, like abuse or violence is involved. But if it's just like an everyday relationship, and sometimes it's these like little small offenses that may go on, and we kind of tuck it somewhere, we put it away, we don't pay attention to it, we don't give much, we don't put much weight on it. And we say to ourselves, oh, that's not a big deal. Oh, they're just being themselves. We kind of start making excuses for the person when they're doing these little small offenses. But how many of us know that small offenses, after a while, it builds up? That's a pattern. That's part of a person's character. So this is what I'm saying. We really need to look at how are we feeling when we leave whoever we're with, whether it's family members, whether it's friends, whether it's co-workers, business partners, church brethren, whatever your space is, sacred sisters, sacred brothers, whatever it is. How are you feeling when you're leaving that person? And you really, 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 I can't stress this enough, because most of our stress, depression, anxiety, physical illnesses, aside from diet, of course we know diet's a big part of that, but a lot of it has to do with our relationships. Most of it has to do with our relationships. And even with our own children, those of us who have adult children, or even our young children, depending on what's going on even with our children. All of these relationships we need to look at, every single relationship we have, and say, how am I feeling when I finish, because each exchange is an energy exchange. When I finish this energy exchange with this person, how does it make me feel? Now, if we are walking away each time feeling like, we have a headache, or we're totally tense in our body, so pay attention to your body, pay attention to your breathing. When you leave them, is your breathing, is your heart beating and racing? Is your breathing staggered? Is it shallow? Pay attention to those things. And really start to, because we should be journaling anyway, really start to journal it, monitor it, look at it, and say, okay, how is this affecting me from a physiological standpoint? How is this affecting me mentally? How is this affecting me emotionally? Because remember, stress is like the number one culprit and cause of a lot of disease in our body. That's mentally, emotionally, and physical. So if we are leaving someone after an energy exchange with whoever it is, and we are stressed each time, okay, so that's where you have to pay attention to your body, to, if you're having any kind of symptoms, if you just feel drained, if you feel depleted. You have to look at all of that, because that's your body telling you. Remember, we did the chat before about your body. Your body keeps the score. Your body is communication. Your body's letting you know when something is out of alignment, when something's wrong. So if you're leaving someone a person in your life that you care about or that you work with or whatever, and every time you leave them, you just feel totally wiped out, that's a signal. That's communication. And that means that it may be time for you to look at that relationship a little differently and start to set some boundaries. If it's somebody you cannot, just say, I'm going to love you from afar and don't really interact with, you have to set boundaries. And again, this is not necessarily new information, but it's a reminder. But it's a reminder with a twist. Because if we do not start to actually take action with all the stuff that we know, because we know these things. We know that if a relationship is toxic or it's unhealthy, or even if it's not, let me say something about that. Even if the relationship is a good relationship, however, that relationship is so taxing on your time and your energy to the point that you're always with the person. And I'm just going to use example because, say if it's a new love relationship or romantic relationship, and we know how those are. If you're in a new relationship, you want to be with the person all the time, you're feeling in love, you have this whole feeling of euphoria, you're spending every waking moment with the person. So if you're spending all your time with the person and all your energy is going there, what is happening with every other aspect of your life? It's probably being neglected. So it is not so much those relationships are making you sick, but it's distracting you from other things, and it may be distracting you from your God-given purpose. So then you're not still walking on your path and your journey that you're supposed to. So it's still not necessarily beneficial, so that's where boundaries have to come in. See, everything in our external world, it impacts our internal world, meaning the inside of us. So we have to be vigilant about what we allow in our external world. And that includes the people that we are connected to. And when we don't do that, when we don't set those boundaries, when we don't say, you know what, this relationship may not be healthy for me. This relationship is toxic. This person makes me feel drained all the time. This person likes to argue too much. This person, they just take up too much of my time. They have too many problems and they're always calling me. They're always keeping me on the phone for hours. I'm not getting my work done. I'm not, taking care of the responsibilities I have. Every single energy exchange, and think about it this way, every energy exchange that we have, right, it should be bringing us closer to our divine purpose and our destiny and achieving our goals. We all have our goals, we all have our dreams. This is a way to assess, is this relationship benefiting my path and my journey towards my purpose and my goals? And if it is or not, how is it? What is the purpose? And this is really what you want to look at. What is the purpose of this relationship? What is the purpose of this relationship in my life? And I know, let me challenge your sensibilities real quick. I know when we talk about and we think about our family, especially our spouses, our children, people we really love, our parents, you still have to ask the question. You still have to ask the question. What in Maxine? You still have to ask the question. Every single, children are not excluded, parents are not excluded, every single person that's attached to you. Okay? Because yes, our children can be a hindrance also. And I'm going to say that. Like I said, I'm going to keep it direct. I have an adult child, and trust me, we have some, what do we call it? Excitable fellowship sometimes. Because he's coming into his own. He's very strong-minded, very, strong-willed, like most of the millennials, right? And so sometimes he wants to go back and forth, and it's the way he wanted, and this, that. And I've learned this is too much of my energy being exchanged, and it's taking me from other things I have to do. Because how many of us know our children, whether they're teenagers, young adults, whatever, they like to just focus on what they need to get done. But then we may have our whole plan, and they come and they disrupt the whole plan because they want you to focus on what they got going on because they neglected to take care of it. How many could relate to that? Okay? So I'm telling you, the children, you got to set those boundaries too. You have to really evaluate how much of my time is being expended, how much of my energy is being expended in this direction for my adult child or my teenager that's capable of doing X, Y, Z, whatever it is. You know the maturity level of your children. And then if it's things that they really could be doing, but they're dumping it onto you, you got to look at that. Because believe it or not, if that's happening all the time, that can make you sick. That can make you stressed out because you're not able to take care of what you need to, because you're constantly either holding their hand way too much when it's things that they really should be taking care of and being responsible. And look, I wasn't planning on staying on the children, but somebody needs to hear this. Because I think when we start to assess our relationship, because look, I'm doing this message too, because when I look all on social media and my timeline and the calls I get and the clients I work with, everybody's, complaining about what this one didn't do, this one didn't support them, this one hurt them, this one did that. And it's usually family members. It's usually close friends. It's not strangers. So what that says to me is that we have to set better boundaries when it comes down to especially our close relationships. Even with our children, even with our parents, they are not exempt. I have someone that I work with that, her mother, and look, I can be transparent, I can relate to this. Her mom, she's middle-aged, that sandwich generation, and her mom is extremely draining. And some of us have parents like that. Very draining. Mom, has a lot of, challenges and different things in her life and not really where she wants to be. So she really, the whole time that she spends with her family is complaining about everything that's wrong in life. Everything is wrong with her. With her physical health, her mental health, her everything. Everything's a complaint. Nothing positive, very, And let me tell you, you can love on your parents, support them, help them, try to encourage them. But at the end of the day, their happiness, their joy, their peace, that is something they have to get for themselves. That is something they have to work out with God on their own. Like, you cannot make somebody else happy. You can't make your parents happy. You can't make your children happy. You can support them. You can give them the tools. You can encourage them. You can pray with them. You can pray over them. But they're each individual And hear what I'm saying. Each individual is responsible for their own happiness and their own joy and their own peace. Grand Rising, ladies, thank you for joining. So, this message, sorry, this message is really about evaluating all of your relationships, including the ones closest to you, including the ones in your household. And I'm going to say this, especially the ones in your household. Because we, especially the women and, men, I know this is for you as well. But as women, we're naturally the caregivers and caretakers and the nurturers. So we tend to put everybody before us. I was just having this conversation with my sister that I'm visiting down here in Florida yesterday because of some of the things she's experienced. We all go through stuff. That's just life because we're not here to just live on this earth by ourselves. We're meant to be interdependent. But we also don't want to break ourselves down and make ourselves sick and unhealthy because of our relationships. And again, it's not every relationship is a toxic relationship. It's just that you haven't put the proper boundaries in place. That's why you're some of you, because I know this message is specifically for one or two of you, maybe more, that your closest relationships is not that it's necessarily toxic, but people are crossing boundaries. You haven't drawn a line in the sand. So you are constantly being bombarded with things that are not your responsibility. And you're taking it on as your responsibility. Okay? So I am going to end this message with two things. One, a quick prayer, but also just to encourage you to assess. Like I said, do a little relationship mapping. We call it that. Look at each one of your relationships. Write it on paper, journal it. And just do it for like a week. Just look at it. How am I feeling when I leave this person? What is the energy exchange like? What does it bring up for me? What is it doing? How am I feeling from a physiological standpoint? My heart rate, my breathing. Look at all of that. Do I have a headache? Do I feel good? Do I feel, burdened? Do I feel drained? What do I feel? Be aware of that. And don't exclude anybody. No problem, Shannon. You can always watch the replay. Those of you who catch the replay, just put #replay. If you have any questions, any comments, you know what to do. Just, either inbox me or drop it. If you feel comfortable, drop the comment in the comment section. So, but take time to really do this. Very important. Because again, some of your relationships may be making you sick. Some of the relationships may be the main cause of why you're not feeling well every day. Or why you're struggling even in your performance at work or in school if you're in school. Where you're not able to focus or concentrate or because you are so overburdened and overwhelmed. Okay? And a lot of times when we're overwhelmed, yes, we have deadlines and we have our jobs and we have, different responsibilities. But most of the time we're overwhelmed because we are taking on things that we were not meant to take on and deal with. I'm telling you, people are very good, especially our family and our closest friends, are very good at dumping on, especially if you're a loving, caring person. And most of you are in this community because you're either in the helping profession, maybe you're in ministry, but you are basically a person that has a big heart and you're a leader, so people feel comfortable dumping on you. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. So you have to draw the line in the sand. You have to set the boundary. You have to say enough is enough. And you can do that in love. There's just some people you have to love them from afar, or you got to love them with very firm boundaries. You have to support them. You can still support, but maybe you only see that person once a week. Or maybe you only call them, twice a week or something. You have to look, I've had schedules for certain family members. When I see them, when I talk to them on the phone, time limits. Okay, I'm going to go for this visit, but I'm only going to do it for maybe 2 hours and I'm gone. These are things that you can do. I'm giving you some tips. All right? So that's one thing I wanted to wrap up. And then I just want to wrap up with just some words of encouragement and a little prayer. And I hope all of you take some time, like I said in the beginning, to enjoy this day. Stay hydrated because the weather's getting really warm now. But I am in Florida. I don't know how it is up north, but it's really warm. Sanji said, oh wait, I love this. Sanji said, I give them different names in the phone. Ooh, girl. I would love to. You know, I'm about to talk to you offline about those names, or you about to do a post with some of that. Let's do a post on that, Sanji. But help us out. I love that. That's a wonderful strategy. Ooh, that's powerful. See, I'm telling you, we learn so much from each other. I would have never thought about that. I know men. Look, I'm gonna make y'all laugh this morning. I know men used to do that when they were, in their phone. They have a little code name for certain women they dating. We ain't gonna say nothing about that. That's the only time I heard that strategy. A little different though, but I love that for the relationships and for setting boundaries. That's excellent. Yeah, Sanji, do a little post on that, girl. That's powerful. All right, so here we go. So I want to encourage everybody that's on here today, everybody that joins this, women, men, all of the healers, helping professionals, light workers, beautiful souls that are in this community. I thank you all for being here. I know I'm behind because I've been traveling, but I know I have to do my formal welcome message, and there'll probably be a whole bunch of them because we've had a lot of people join the community. So it's coming. But I want to encourage everyone here today that you are a beautiful soul after God's own heart. You are a spirit, a beautiful spirit of substance, power, influence, and meaning. And when God created you, He created the best through His love. Allow the anointing of God to show up and to show off in your life today. Be a blessing to someone. Touch someone's life. But also be astute and be vigilant about protecting your heart and your space and your mind and your spirit. The best is yet to come, and you have not seen anything yet. So, Father God, Divine Creator, thank you for your guidance, your direction, your love that you pour out to every soul on this live today and everyone that will join the replay. Allow each person to know that they must yield unto you. Pour out your spirit unto every beautiful soul here. Allow prayer, fasting, and affirming themselves with the word, the living word, and with positive affirmations to become part of their lifestyle. Restore them through your love and allow them to know that you love them, you truly love them, and that they are always on your heart. You've chosen, anointed, and appointed them as the beautiful souls, warriors, leaders of God. And I say all of this in Jesus' name, so it is. Amen. Ashe. Everyone have an amazing, amazing day. And like I said, not only be a blessing to others, but be a blessing to yourself. And love on yourself today. And just know you are chosen and appointed for this time. You're anointed and appointed. Anointed and appointed for this time. And I thank God for each one of you. I thank you for being a part of this community. And you are all a blessing to me. So, last thing I want to say, make sure you participate in the poll. If you haven't participated in the poll, those of you that are and I see a lot of New Yorkers on this live, make sure you participate in the poll. Participate in the poll, okay? And you don't have to just be a New Yorker. You could be in Delaware, you could be in Maryland, you could be in Philly, the Northeast, because y'all can travel. We do our meetups. Okay, because they're coming up. I'm doing at least two this summer, and so far it looks like the Fireside Chat is winning, and then the wine vineyards are right behind it. Okay, and the wine vineyard, we're gonna have a great time with that. Listen, I'm excited. The fireside chat is, us sitting around chopping it up. So people want to talk and connect. So I'm cool with that. But that wine vineyard, we have like 4 places I think we're gonna hit. So just participate in the poll so I can get some more feedback. All right, everybody, have a blessed one.